Hello, everyone. Any bodybuilder who has ever appeared on the stage of the Mr. Olympia tournament, not to mention the winners and prize winners, is undoubtedly a person who is said to be born one in a million. But Sergio Oliva's talent was so high that it literally went over the edge, for which, in his youth, he was even given the loud nickname Myth. According to many bodybuilding experts and fans, since his very birth, he was destined to become a famous bodybuilder in the future and leave a legacy that has been talked about in the world of iron sports for decades. Sergio Oliva was born in 1941 in Cuba on the Independence Day of the United States of America, and perhaps that is why extraordinary independence and determination have become his main qualities. Now, it is difficult to say what influenced the fate of the athlete, the energy of the day, the magic of numbers or destiny, but the desire for struggle and freedom became a key moment in his life. From the age of 12, he worked with his father on sugarcane plantations. At the age of 16, on the advice of his father, Sergio forged passport details and joined the army to fight the communist regime. However, this struggle was not crowned with success, after Fidel Castro won a landslide victory and Oliva left the army. He didn't do anything specific for a while, spending a lot of time at the local beach. One day on the coast, Sergio accidentally met a man who invited him to come to an athletic club and watch weightlifters train. This guy turned out to be the manager of the Cuban national weightlifting team. From that moment on, Oliva's life changed dramatically. Sergio got a job at the gym as a janitor, and for this he was paid a salary and allowed to train there for free. There is a theory that Oliva joined weightlifting to escape from Cuba. I wanted to leave Cuba, and sports was the only way to escape from a world where there was a dictatorship, where there was no medicine, food, and livelihood, Sergio confessed. In 1962, when a team of Cuban weightlifters came to Jamaica to participate in the Pan American Games, Oliva asked for political asylum at the American Embassy and received it. First, our hero settled in Miami, and then the prose of life begins. The path of any Cuban emigrant usually began and was by no means strewn with roses. Once there, Oliva agrees to any job, from unloading trucks to repairing televisions. In 1963, Sergio decides to go to Chicago, away from his fellow Cubans, who were like ants in an anthill in Miami. There, the powerfully built guy is noticed by the coolest local bodybuilder Bob Gadja, who saw tremendous potential in the Cuban emigrant weightlifter and actually took the athlete under his care. He took Oliva to a local gym where he discovered the world of bodybuilding. The atmosphere of the club, where many celebrities such as Larry Scott, Chuck Sipes, and other stars of that time trained, influenced Sergio, forced him to train even harder, although the future champion did not have much energy and time to practice with iron. In the early years, the life of a young Cuban boy was difficult. In order to live, Sergio had to do hard work and often miss training sessions because of this. Oliva's bodybuilding idols were John Grimek and Steve Reeves, the greatest athletes of the pre-steroid era. Based on their training programs, he compiled his own, adding some exercises by Leroy Colbert, the first person to build a bicep of 53 centimeters. Despite the fact that Oliva trained from time to time, his muscles began to grow as if they were being pumped with air, and at the end of the year he won his first Mr. Young Chicagoland title. But Junior Oliva was already 23 years old. Despite his good athletic form, Oliva also realized that he was not yet ready for professional competitions, so Sergio postponed conquering the Olympia of bodybuilding until 1966. But it was worth it. An unknown refugee from Cuba has achieved all the top bodybuilding titles in a short period of time. Oliva made her Olympic debut in 1966 and immediately took fourth place after Chuck Sipes, Harold Poole, and the reigning champion Larry Scott. Then he returns a year later and takes first place at the Mr. Universe in the tall stature category, as well as in the absolute. In the same 1967, he entered his second Olympic Games and became the first, leaving no chance for his old rivals. Still Chuck Sipes and Harold Poole. At that time, he received a ridiculous $1,000 for winning the tournament. But for the athlete, the main thing was not money, but recognition and the title itself. The reality was that just 4 years after getting to know the bodybuilding world, Sergio became the de facto king of the sport. He proved it a year later at Olympia 68, climbing back to the first step of the podium. However, it is worth noting here that Oliva was the only participant in that Olympia. His potential opponents, the best bodybuilders on the planet, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chuck Sipes, Harold Poole, Dave Draper, for various reasons refused to perform. Olive's musculature was truly phenomenal. No one else had such huge hands, even when relaxed. There is a well-known case when Oliva went to train with the inventor of Nautilus simulators, Arthur Jones. He measured the circumference of Sergio's arms, and it turned out that his arm was bigger than his head. In 1969, Oliva had a worthy competitor for the title of the best bodybuilder on the planet. By that time, Arnold Schwarzenegger had already moved to America and had also signed a contract with Joe Weider. The Austrian oak was young, strong, very confident, and in great shape. But even at the peak of his form, he could not get around the Cuban unique. In 1970, Oliva lost the title to Schwarzenegger. This is Arnold's comment on the tournament in an interview with Muscle and Fitness magazine in 2008. In 1970, the fight on the Olympic podium was only between two participants, me and Sergio Oliva. We scored approximately the same points. I felt that the judges were hesitating and started looking for a way out. Posing together didn't promise me any advantages, and Oliva was really huge, so only my resourcefulness could save me. The judges called us both to the podium, and we started posing. They didn't let us go for a long time, and we were already sweating profusely, and then it dawned on me. "Do you hear, Sergio?" I said. "Come on, finish as much as you can. I'm already tired of this." Sergio agreed and nodded his head. He turned his back on me, waved to the audience, and headed backstage. He turned around, and I immediately took a few steps in his direction. However, when he turned his head away, I stopped and spread my arms as if in surprise. Like, "Where are you going, friend?" From the outside, it looked as if Oliva couldn't stand posing together and voluntarily gave up, leaving me alone on the podium. The audience started shouting my name enthusiastically, and the judges made me the first. In 1971, all the fans were expecting a rematch between Arnold and Sergio. However, it did not take place. In 1971, Arnold became the only participant and the automatic winner of the Olympic Games, as a whole group of athletes, and Sergio Oliva among them, were disqualified. For the first time, the IFBB leadership applied the disqualification of athletes who disobeyed and participated in the Mr. Universe tournament, competing NABA federations. When Sergio was about to take his third Mr. Olympia title, he learned from the experience of defeats. Frustrated but not broken, Sergio redoubled his training efforts and returned to competition in 1972, even more pumped up than before, ready to win. As a result of the controversial defeat at the 1972 Olympic Games in Essen, Oliva joined the WBBG Dan Lurie Federation and won all competitions held under its auspices. In 1984, Sergio Oliva returned to the IFBB and delighted his many fans by participating in the Olympia. In 1984 and 1985, he took 8th place, for which he received the ironic nickname, the Eighth Wonder of the World. It was a heavy blow for the ambitious athlete, a blow that forced him to leave the competition, although Sergio could not give up bodybuilding altogether. And in 1986, the Eighth Wonder of the World really happened to him. Sergio's wife shot him 5 times. One of the bullets hit Oliva in the stomach. After this injury, of course, a divorce followed. His wife called it self-defense, and Sergio himself called it an accident. Oliva continued to train 5 times a week, as he had during the years of performing. Naturally, I reduced my weight because the injuries I received during my life, including fractures, made themselves felt. Sergio has been coaching and even starred in 2 action movies. The legendary bodybuilder died on November the 12th, 2012 in Chicago from kidney failure at the age of 71. He left a deep mark in the history of bodybuilding. His name was included in the IFBB Glory Gallery. In the history of bodybuilding, you can count on your fingers such harmoniously built and charismatic athletes. Sergio Oliva is one of those destined to practice strength sports and rise to the highest levels of the podium. He was someone for whom bodybuilding was not just a professional hobby, but the foundation of his whole life. From 1965 to 1985, he won more than 20 titles at the highest level. And I would like to end the video with the words of Dave Draper, who started his career around the same time. I met Sergio shortly after his wins on Mr. America and Mr. Universe, and I thought, what does this have to do with titles? At any competition, he can be stripped of any title by the will of the judges. But who else on this planet looks so powerful, bold, symmetrical, and fast? Maybe he is not a human being, but just some kind of terrestrial being that has not been described by science before, or just a bodybuilder from Mars. Yes, this is more suitable for him. Friends, meet Sergio Oliva, a bodybuilder from the planet Mars. As always, I will be grateful for your support. It helps in the development of the channel. Please like, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications about the release of new videos, and thank you for watching. Sports Guru was with you. See you later.